Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Just got back from the gym, been going like crazy. Did gymnastics with the girls, went to the gym, went and got some fresh veggies, a little bit of meal prepping, made an amazing peach, orange, and mint fruit salad, and feeling totally pumped today. So I wanted to give you guys some positive right off the bat. You know, surround yourself with people who lift you up and see the good in you and cheer for your success. There's so many people out there. There's the news, everything that's so negative every day, blah, 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 right? Negativity. Try to get that out of your life and create that positive bubble around you so that you are being lifted up. That was something that I touched on during my presentation on Friday in the Trading Pit, which is where I am helping people learn how to trade, but also seeing the big picture of a trading lifestyle and seeing the outside effects of the powers of people around you, the news, the tweets, right? Because all of that can get into your mind and affect your trading as well. So definitely check that out. On Wednesday, I also did a live webinar with TrendSpider. So we'll start off with a SPY here. And these are the really cool raindrop candles that you can see right here. It's really cool because this is all based off of volume. It's the VWAP for the first half of the candle and the VWAP for the second half of the candle. So these blue ones right here are going to be VWAP where it's within, I believe he said it was 2% of each other. And then obviously if you have a red one, that means the second half of the day or the time period was going to be, the volume weighted average price is going to be lower, and vice versa. It would be green if it was higher. Then these lines right here, if you guys have never heard of Brian Shannon and Alpha Trends, he created the anchored VWAP. So you can anchor them to any candle, which they, you know, TrendSpider's partnered with Brian on that. And it's pretty cool because you can see how they will sometimes act as support and resistance. And let's go ahead and get into the indexes. So we have the SPY right on the daily chart. We have these two trend lines right here. It went a little bit higher than the prior high back here on the 26th. Let's see, that high was 302.23 and the high on Thursday was 302.46, so 23 cents higher. And then we pulled back a little bit on Friday and closed below this trend line as well. So we'll see, we've got an ascending wedge right here. Is the volume going to pick up and we're going to break out and go up and test this upper trend line around the 306 area? Or is it going to break down further and bounce off this trend line? You know, there's a lot of different scenarios. But right now, to me, it looks like in limbo zone, right? There's no clear path directly going up or directly going down. We'll get into the QQQs. So we have Nasdaq, right? And look, here's one of those blue candles, right? It hit a trend line, blue candle, reverse. So it's pretty cool to see sometimes that will happen, that you'll have the blue candle and then it will go ahead and change the trend direction. Down here, it came down, bounced up, and then came down a little bit further. So it's really cool to check out. As far as my perspective on Nasdaq with this, you know, we've had this general upward trend here, and now we've touched this trend line and it's pulling back. So we could see further movement to the downside. It's going to depend on the volume coming in. Is it going to pull back down, potentially test the 50 simple moving average down here, which is around 189. And then we also have the Russell. So the Russell has had this major upward trend, right? But we have this trend line here. I'm going to go ahead and anchor that one, lock this trend line. And it's pulled down from there, right? So it came up every time that it's tested it in the past, it has not been able to hold above it. You know, obviously it did up here, but we came and it broke down as of May 9th. So it hasn't been able to hold above it for the past 3 months. So we shall see what is going to happen in the upcoming week. However, we had higher volume going into it and then a sell-off as we bounced off that trend line. So we shall see what happens going forward with the week. Let's go ahead and get into the watch list. As always, guys, I did have my Series 7 back in 2000. However, it is no longer current, so please remember to trade with proper risk management. Do your own due diligence. There are no guarantees in trading, and trading all sorts of instruments does come with varying degrees of risk. So we'll get into my first potential long for the week. Cars, which you can see had a great day on Friday. I would look for support at 1050 and 1125 for resistance. It does have 65.9 million in the float and 66% short float volume on Friday. Why do I love this one? Look at this massive gap that we have right here. So this is a high of 1231. All right, let's go ahead and set an alert for crossing up over 1231. And I want it to notify me on my phone. So if we do go ahead and continue this upward trend, it looks like we had consolidation right here. It found a nice base. One of the things I did talk about too was chart patterns. It looks like we have a nice little rounded bottom right here. So is it going to be going and continue on up above this direction? So we shall see. I do apologize. I do have a nasty cold. The weather is changing up here in Canada, and I have conceived a little cold from my little ones. All right, next on the potential long list is BLDP, Ballard Power, 541 for support, 555 for resistance. You can see it came up, tested new high of 550, pulled back, and I did 555 because just the next 5 cents up. It did go ahead and close at 553. So you can see it tested, came back, tested, but it wasn't able to break through. There was massive volume at the end of the day, so we shall see if that massive volume was buying in or selling on on Monday. So looking at it, looking pretty strong for potential move to the upside. After that, we have 570 and I would say 594. So if it does break above 594, let's see, we could be having some bigger moves, right? The next level after 594, potentially 723, and then on up to $8, and then up here, yeah, 8 on up to $9. All right, it does have 159 million in the float and 54% short float volume. Next on the potential long list, CRK. So I'd look for support around 917, resistance at 962. When we pull it back on the yearly chart, all-time high for the year, so keeping that in mind, it might continue to run further. It might have a bit of a sell-off. You can watch the volume too, right? So we had massive volume down here as it came up. It broke out here, more volume, then it pulled back a little bit, and this was a higher volume day, right, than these others. So we could see potential move further. Let's go on the 5-year chart. Looks like our next level is going to be 10, and then on up 1040, up to the 11 level, and potentially 1150 after that. Next potential long is Casey, CASY, 169.65 for support, 171.23 for resistance. I did draw these other these other resistance lines because they are prior highs that might act as resistance or roadblocks again going up. It does have 36 million in the float, and it's 71% short float volume. On CRK, I forgot to tell you, it does have 12.9 million in the float, and it was 62% short float volume on Friday. So when we look back at Casey as well, another one that's hitting a 52-week high, right? It came down, tested the 50 simple moving average here, broke through all the averages up strong, and it did have a bit of a sell-off with this wick up here at the top. So we had a test. It's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of this 172.63 level. It was not able to break out on Friday, so we shall see if this week it does have that break of that level 172.50 area, and we're able to go ahead and break on out further. Final potential long is MCFT. So this one had earnings, and it was a red day. Then we had a bit of a green day, but it didn't close weaker. So looking for this potentially, it does look like it has found support in this area in the past, potentially. So looking for that to go to the upside if it can break 1501 for the resistance. And if not, if it breaks down further, looking for 1424 as support to be broken. When we look at it on the 15-minute chart, it did run up. It looks like we might have had selling up here at this level, which we saw again on Thursday, right at that $15 level. So that is going to be a fairly strong level to watch going forward into the week. Next potential short is Broadcom. So Broadcom, a big player, obviously in the semiconductor area, had negative reaction to earnings. You can tell, right, guys? You start to see where those sellers are lined up, right? It just stalled right here around 293.71, 293.70 area. So keeping that on watch in case it breaks above, but looking for further breakdown potentially. When we look at the chart, we've had this upward motion, but it hasn't. It had a 1, 2 triple top, and now it's pulling back down. It has been following up the 50 and the 200 simple moving average. It tested the 50 simple moving average on Friday, bounced a bit, but we'll see. Does it break that 284 level to the downside and then come on down to test 277? Those would be my two primary targets for going forward to the short side on AVGO. It does have 386 million in the float. Next potential short is ZS. You can see it had a big gap down with earnings, bounced a bit, and then continuing to sell off into Friday. So look for support to be broken of 47.25 and resistance of 48.07. Now, you can see when we go back into the past here that this was prior support, so we might look down to the next potential level of 45.70. If that can be broken, coming on down to 43.32. It does have 63.8 million in the float. Then we have Altria Group. So Altria Group, as well as Philip Morris, with the vaping sector, might be getting affected. They did have a dividend going into Friday, so that will also affect the price action. However, the major players in the vaping sector with all that news might be feeling the pain, even though they are also tobacco industry. So this one I would look for support of 41.97 to be broken to the downside here and 42.48 to the upside. It does have 1.87 billion in the float. And like I said, when you look at it on the yearly chart, we have hit a new 52-week low. When we pull it back on the 5-year, again, down at new lows. So really, next level down we're looking at is going to be the 40.29 level, and then on down to potentially 38.25 from there. Philip Morris, next one, again in that vaping tobacco sector, 73 for support to be broken and 73.58 for resistance to be broken to the upside. It does have 155 million in the float. And the final one of RH, Restoration Hardware. So they had earnings and then they just did an offering. It was halted overnight from Thursday into Friday. 300, where is it? It's right over here. $300 million convertible offering of notes. So they might be taking it up in order to go ahead and sell it off just a little bit, but we shall see. 170.30 for support to be broken to the downside and 174.53. This one, when we do look at it on the yearly, it is hitting all-time highs, so not a surprise that they might try to go ahead and do an offering. You can see the past high was right around 163 area, so we might see a pullback to the 163 area before we get a bounce up from there. Potential longer-term swings. TRIB, Trinity Biotechnology. You can see that it did find support down here. We had 1, 2, 3 days that it consolidated, and now it's breaking up. It did break above this little resistance right here at 130. I would look for more confirmation of potentially a break of the 140 area, right here as well at the 15 EMA. Another potential long is WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. So it looks like we've got a bit of an upside down head and shoulders to me. We've got it right here. We've got a shoulder, we've got the head, and we've got the shoulder over here. So looking to see if we can break above the 74, really 75 level. If we are able to break above the 75 level, it looks like it might continue on up. These are obviously old, so we will go ahead and get rid of those. But it does have potential, if it were to continue on up. Obviously, dividend will affect it on the price action, so we might see a nice green day coming up on Monday and continuation up if that happens. Final one on the potential long list is VICR. So VICR, we're right here at, it almost looks like a W, right? Let's see, we've got here, 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 here. So is it going to continue, right? We shall see. If we could break this level right here of the 3440 area, we might see a move on up to 3660 and then potential new highs up here of 3890. Oh, that's interesting. It's not on the other. There we go. So if we were able to break here, then we'd be looking at 36, then on up here, 3880. So definitely keep this one on watch. As always, guys, carpe profit, seize those profits one trade at a time. Definitely check out the Trading Pit if you are newer to trading or you really want to reset your trading and you want to have that positive environment where people are going to help encourage you and know that you can do it if you follow the rules and you are disciplined. Paper trading techniques is a great way to get it down, especially in the beginning, or if you want to reset your trading and you want to learn a new style, such as trading with the dark pool. Everybody talks about trading the news. The dark pool usually knows beforehand, and we see the prints that happen before the news is released. So definitely check it out. Have a great week. Bye, guys.